What's up, everybody? Today I'm doing a mobile repair on a 2014, not 2004, BMW 528i. It's got the N20 engine. We have a list of repairs that need to be performed. This car right here, as you can see, it's a nice car. We're going to be doing a serpentine belt, a battery replacement, cabin air filters, and oil filter housing gasket. The main two things I'm going to show on this is the battery programming and the oil filter housing gasket. I'll briefly describe how to remove the belt and the filters on this, just so you know how to do them and where they're located. But we're going to go ahead and get to it. I have the hood popped already. It's going to be a little dark for 1 second, just because I don't have my light up here. But as I said, this is the N20 engine. But we're going to get started on this. I'm going to show you what we need to do to get to the belt real quick, and what I need to do to get to the oil filter housing, which is right here. And once I get set up with my tools and stuff, I'll be right back. I went ahead and took the engine cover off on this. All you got to do is, you can take the oil cap off if you want to, but it should clear it. And then on these back wires, there's just these little Christmas tree bits. Should be 4 of them. And then what you can do is, it's got these little pop grommets right there. You just pull straight up and pull back, and it should come right out. Nothing major. But to get to the belt, you will have to remove the air box right here. There's just one connector. Sometimes these come out easy, sometimes they don't. But I'll get it out in a minute. And then you have the latches on it right here that just pop off. And then we're going to take the hose clamp off down there. And then we're just going to pull this whole upper portion out. But it is just a flat head. I would advise using a stubby down here, just so you can get in there a little bit better, or you can use a ratchet, and I do believe those are 7mm. So you just take that off, pop the clips, and then we'll have to take this brace off, and these should be 16mm, I believe. On these, to take this brace off, it'd be a 16 or 17, something like that. But you remove the brace, then you can pull the housing out, and you can get right to the belt. Let me pull this out right quick, and I'll show you what it looks like. Here's the air box right here, or the air tube. Like I said, I had to get a pick and get underneath that clip because I can't get it pried out with my hand, but you just get a little pick and pop it up, it should come right out. This is what it looks like without it. As you can see, the tensioner is right here, and it uses a 16mm on the front. And you just push down on the ratchet and swing the tensioner to the passenger side, and you can just pull the belt right off. This is the part number for the new belt right here, K060394. And here's the new belt, and here's the old one. You can see it had some cracks in it and stuff, and it needed to be done right there. So throw this one back on now, and then we'll start on the oil filter housing. Alright, next step that we're going to do is start on this oil filter housing. And as you can see, it has the cooler on the front. You'll have to take those two off because there is a gasket behind this. And then there's a bolt right here, one right there, and then right in between the intake and the oil filter housing. I don't know how well you can see up in there. There it goes. There's one right there, and there's just enough room to where you cannot get a actual socket on it, so you'll have to lift this intake out a little bit just to get it off. And they recommend taking the whole intake off, but we're just going to lift it up a little bit. You don't have to pull it completely off, but you have to move it enough to where you can get a swivel socket. And I use this one right here. It is a 1/4 inch E10. This one is a snap-on one, but it is probably about the lowest profile one I have found. But we're going to start taking this intake off, and to do this we need to take the computer off. You need to pull these wires up off of these clips right here, and then take, if I can get it one-handed, take all these connectors out like that. They just push down on the tang, and I can do it one-handed, it's kind of hard, but you saw me do it on the other one. But I'm going to pull all these off, and then it has 4 of these torque spits right here on there, and then you can pull the computer off. Okay, we get the computer out now, and these connectors right here, the little square ones, they were a little tough to get out, but we got them. And then this other big one, I forgot to show you how to pull it out, but all you do, you just grab it and pull back on this little front portion right here, and it just slides up and pulls out. But make sure you take that out before you try to get the square ones out right there. But as you can see, we got it off, and now we can get to all the intake bolts or nuts, which are down in these little cavities, and then there's 2 on the ends. But we're just going to take those off and loosen them up just enough to move the intake where we can get down in here and get that bolt right there out. So I'm going to take these right here off. I do believe they are 12 millimeters. Oh, let me check that before I confirm that it is, or leave you without knowing what they are. Actually, no. I didn't think they were 10s. Yeah, they are actually 10 millimeters. That did not look like a 10. It's been a while since I've worked on one of these, but we're going to go ahead and loosen these up and start taking the intake off on this. Okay, so we have it lifted up some. I don't know how well you can see down in there, but let me get this out of the way. You can see the bolt a lot better right there. And what I did was disconnected some of these lines just enough to pull it back, and then disconnected this tube right here. And it's just a like a air intake tube that we're going to do, and it's got one of these BMW squeeze clamps right here. But now we can actually get to the bolt right here for the oil filter housing, and we'll show you that you can get to it pretty easy now. See, I got it on there now, and we got plenty of room. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking these bolts out. And on this front one down here, you're going to need to you can use that swivel. It's really tight in there, but I have a gear wrench, E10 ratchet wrench that I'm going to use, and I'll show it to you whenever I get to this bolt right here. So this is the bolt for the hard to reach one. I did break this one loose already. As you can see, I'm turning it with my fingers, but this is the wrench right here that I used for this lower one, and as you can see, it fits on there perfect, and then you can just thread it out. But be warned, when you take this off, oil will come out of here. I don't think anything's coming out of it just yet, but we will have some come out. So I'm going to go ahead and finish pulling all these bolts out real quick, and then I'll bring you right back. And on a side note, I'm not going to take the filter out on this because she just recently had an oil change on the car, and you don't have to take it out if you don't want to. And sometimes it actually be less oil that comes out whenever you do that too, because it won't let the oil drain back as bad. As you can see, we got it off. One thing I will say, I do like to put new bolts in these right here if I can do it. We didn't get time to do it this time because we're on kind of a time restraint and we couldn't get the parts in time, but you can reuse them once. I would say that would be the max, but after that, try to change them after that, because they are kind of like a tortilla bolt, and they are aluminum bolts as well. But like I said, we couldn't get the bolts in. But I'm going to change this gasket right here, as you can see, clean it up and get it bolted back on, and then I will change this one and put the cooler on. And there are actually 3 bolts on these coolers. I always forget about that bottom one, and those are E12s, where the actual housing bolts are E10s. So we're gonna get this kind of cleaned up as much as I can and get the gaskets on there, and I'll be right back and I'll show you what the torque specs are. So we have it all put back in, and these bolts right here all torqued to 22 Newton meters. That's even the cooler lines on the front. And whenever you go to do this bottom one down here, I will say just gonna have to use your judgment on what 22 Newton meters feel like. That's why I would say do these two top ones first, and then you can kind of get a feel what 22 feels like, and then you can just kind of torque it down with that ratchet wrench, just to get it close to what it needs to be. And then now all we got to do is put the intake back on. As you can see, it is still loose, and the 10 millimeters, they on service data said that they torque to 11 foot-pounds is what it come up to be. And just remember they're 10 millimeters as well. But something I want to tell people in case they've never dealt with these type of connectors, Ford's using them a lot now, but these little like C-clip connectors, if you push it back down in the groove, once you go to put it on, it will actually seat itself, because it will just go over, because it's a bevel fitting, and you'll hear it click. That way you know that it's on there completely. Just as a little tip for anybody who's never used them before. But we're going to put everything back together, because I don't want to show you the installation, because it's the exact same thing as the removal. But once I get it on, I will show you where the battery is and show you how to pull that out and everything, and then we'll go inside and program it. I decided to go ahead and show you the cabin air filters. They live on the passenger side under the glove box, and here's the door. It looks like that. There's going to be 4 screws that hold it in. It's going to be, because it goes up like this with the hose on the left, and on the left, right behind where the hose goes in, there's a screw right there. Then there's 2 on the front and 1 on the right side, and they are T15s. This is what they look like, and we've already pulled them out. There's going to be 2 air filters in here. This is the air filters. Oops, I didn't mean to hit y'all, but that's what they look like. We have brand new ones. This is the brand new ones that I got. That's the part number. And they should come with 2 of them in a pack. And it will have an arrow describing which way the airflow is. Also, whenever you do this, you want to take this under panel off. There will be 2 Torx bits that hold it on, and it's just pull clips on the rest of them. That's what they are. I do believe they are T30s, and then you'll have 1 more T15 that goes into this little side panel right here as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and stick these back in, put her back in, and then I'll show you where the battery is. Alright, so I'm going to show you where the battery lives in this car. So in the trunk, lift up the flap right here on the floor lining. You'll have 2 10mm plastic screws, or nuts rather. Set those to the side. Then you can lift up this right here, and the battery lives underneath here. You can also pull this tray out, and we may have to take this cover right here off, which isn't a big deal. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4 little pop clips on it, and it pulls right out. So let me get this up and let me see if I need to pull this off, and then we'll get to the battery. So I did have to pull this off. There is a connector for a outlet right here. It looks like a little plug-in outlet right there. But you pull those 4 pop clips off, take the rubber seal around, lift it up, and then this right here just slides off. But now that we are exposed to the battery, you have 10mm on the negative, 10mm on the positive. Then you have this clip piece right here that will release the whole mechanism once you take the lead off. And then you're going to have two 13 millimeters that holds this tie strap down. And then it should lift right out. Two things I forgot to mention is down on the side right here, you will have the hold down retainer. And then on the actual battery, if you want to, you can take this 13 millimeter off right here that attaches to the cable. I like to disconnect that just so I can lift it up and make sure everything's free. And when you do this though, it's going to turn off all the lights and everything in the trunk area whenever you take this part off only, just as a FYI. And then after we do that, you can actually lift up the battery. But these are very heavy batteries, so be careful. And I'm going to pull this out and put a new one in, and then when I come back, I'll show you how to program it. So another thing that I forgot on these BMWs or most German cars is they have these vent tubes right here, and there's going to be one on each side. You can see it about right there. Now with the battery will come a plug for one side, because what it does is it vents the battery acid fumes out of the car. Just make sure you hook that up, because it can build up the fumes in the car, and it can be pretty strong. I've had them in these BMWs, people didn't hook them up, and they've actually had pretty strong smells to them. I'm sitting in the car right now, and don't do what I did. I forgot to get all the information off of the new battery, so I had to go back and take a picture of all the information, like with the cold cranking amps and the amp hours and part numbers and all that stuff. So don't forget to do that. That's my fault. But we're back in here now, and what we're going to do is go into hot functions, battery, register battery replacement. So we can go through all the different control modules and all that stuff and make sure they're all communicating. It only takes maybe 20 seconds or so. I mean, if that. Alright, come on, okay. Then we're going to register a battery replacement, so hit F1. Then we're going to, I've already looked at the old one. It has 105 amp hour AGM with a 950 cold cranking amp battery, and this is the exact same one, so we're going to enter it with the same capacity. Go to F1 again. Is it an original component? No. It's not an OEM battery, it is one from O'Reilly, so I think it's, forgot what it was, but I got it on the paper. What I'll do is I will get you the part number. I'll put it in the description below. Just read everything. Okay. It's gonna do all that stuff, and that's pretty much it. Alright, so only thing I want to add is, after I did the oil filter housing gasket, I did have to put some coolant in it because it did run out. You'll probably have to put a quart or so in it. I think I ended up putting about a quart before it came back to the full level. Probably a little bit more needs to go in after I run the engine, because I haven't ran it yet, because I wanted to finish everything else up. But that is it for this one, this video right here. This is the 2014 BMW 528i, and it has the N20. But any comments, concerns, questions you you need answered or anything, leave them in the comment section below. And if y'all would, please hit that like and subscribe, because it does help the channel grow a little bit, and I'm trying to get more followers so I can help more people out. But if y'all enjoyed the video, like I said, hit all the buttons, and until next time, y'all have a great day.